If people avoid you, feel uneasy around you, or seem to project jealousy for no clear reason, it's probably not your personality, it's your aura. Carl Jung understood that when your inner light becomes too strong, it doesn't just inspire others, it reveals them. Part 1. What is an aura and why Jung thought it mattered? Your aura isn't some mystical, colorful field reserved for spiritual illustrations. In Jungian depth psychology, it can be understood as the invisible energy signature you emit into the world, consciously or unconsciously. It's not about how you look. It's about how people feel when you're near. And when that energy is powerful, it can shake people to their core, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're embodying something rare. Authenticity. Jung didn't use the word aura in the spiritual sense, but his ideas about the psyche, the shadow, and the collective unconscious suggest we are more than minds and personalities. We are energetic fields, radiating the psychological structures we've integrated. He believed each person carries layers, a conscious identity, hidden shadow elements, suppressed desires, and universal archetypes. When someone undergoes the process of individuation, integrating these parts, they develop a deep inner presence. That presence isn't an act, it's an energy that speaks louder than words. That's your aura, the psychological and spiritual resonance you carry into every room. People who've faced their shadow, reclaimed their truth, and stopped living for approval often radiate this kind of energy. They're not perfect, they're whole, and wholeness is disruptive in a world built on illusion. Why powerful auras disturb others? Jung once said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. That insight is key. When your aura is charged with authenticity, radical self-awareness, and emotional depth, you act as a mirror. Others see in you what they're avoiding in themselves. You could walk into a room full of people wearing masks, stand without saying a word. You become a threat. Why? Because your presence reveals what's false. It exposes the emotional costumes others cling to for comfort. This discomfort isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. People fidget, avoid eye contact, overreact to your calmness, or criticize you for being too much. They may admire you from a distance, but feel paralyzed around you. It's not personal. It's energetic. According to Jung, we all project unconscious parts of ourselves onto others. When your aura is strong, it doesn't support those projections, it pierces them. Your truth invalidates their illusions. This is the hidden cost of inner work. You stop fitting into systems built on repression. You start quietly shaking structures, even without intention. The psychology behind your energy field, your aura, doesn't become powerful through surface-level spiritual practices. It emerges through deep internal work, what Jung called bringing the unconscious into consciousness. This means facing everything you've buried: fear, envy, grief, anger, even your own power. Society teaches us to suppress these energies to appear good, but suppression leads to fragmentation. True strength comes from reclaiming those lost parts. When you do, your aura stabilizes. It becomes coherent. It no longer emits chaos, it radiates wholeness. Jung believed that full integration of the psyche leads to the emergence of the self, a force greater than the ego. When this happens, your aura doesn't reflect inner division. It reflects unity. And that kind of energy is both magnetic and unsettling. Depending on whether others have done their own inner work, how the collective unconscious responds to. Jung proposed that every human being is connected to a shared psychic reservoir, the collective unconscious. This realm is populated by archetypes: the warrior, the healer, the sage, the rebel. When your aura is powerful, you're likely embodying one or more of these archetypes. People aren't just reacting to you. They're reacting to centuries of meaning encoded in these symbols. For example, if you carry the energy of the healer, some people may feel the urge to open up to you. Others might resist you, afraid of being seen. If you embody the warrior, you might trigger competitiveness or fear in those who haven't claimed their strength. These reactions aren't logical. They're ancestral, psychological, and deeply unconscious. Your aura doesn't just disturb egos, it unsettles conditioning that's been passed down for generations. Authenticity as a revolutionary force. Here's the core truth. Authenticity is rebellion in a world that rewards imitation and conformity. Being real is dangerous. Jung warned of the dangers of the persona, the social mask we wear to be accepted. Most people never take it off. But when someone shows up without a mask, whole and unapologetically true, it threatens the entire system. And yet, most people with strong auras aren't trying to disrupt anything. They're often gentle, introspective, and calm. But their presence alone says, you don't have to perform. You don't have to pretend. You can be whole. And that message terrifies those who aren't ready to hear it. Sign 7. People open up to you instantly. You've probably noticed it. People you barely know start sharing their deepest fears, regrets, or long-buried secrets with you. Even those who usually hide behind sarcasm or humor suddenly become raw, vulnerable, and honest. Why? Because your aura sends out a psychic invitation. It doesn't scream for attention, it whispers, you're safe here. You can be real here. And in a world built on facades, that is rare. Carl Jung believed that true healing begins when the unconscious is brought into conscious awareness. But that process doesn't start in therapy, it starts in conversation. Honest, raw, unfiltered communication. People feel that you won't judge them, that you can hold their truth, no matter how complex, without flinching. Your presence becomes a psychological permission slip to be real. But make no mistake, this gift comes with consequences. Not everyone is ready for the kind of vulnerability your energy invites. Some may later feel exposed, even ashamed. Others may start using your presence to emotionally dump, treating your empathy like a sponge for their pain. That's when you must draw the line. There's a difference between holding space and becoming someone's emotional landfill. You are not here to absorb. You are not here to fix. You are a mirror of truth. And that, in itself, is a spiritual service. Sign 8. You naturally repel superficial people. You don't need to cut shallow people out of your life. Your aura does it for you. Gossipers, clout chasers, and attention seekers tend to feel uneasy around you. They may label you as too serious, boring, or even weird. But what they're actually reacting to is truth. Carl Jung spoke often about the persona, the masked people wear to survive in society. Many spend their whole lives polishing this mask, curating a performance for the world. But when you walk into the room, unmasked, authentic, you disrupt the game. You don't laugh at shallow jokes. You don't feed the drama. You exist on a frequency they can't manipulate. 2. Those clinging to superficiality, your presence is a silent confrontation. You reflect the path they've avoided, the path of realness, depth, wholeness, and that scares them. So when shallow people find you too much or hard to read, take it as confirmation your energy speaks a truth they're not ready to hear. Sign 9. You leave people either drained or energized. This is one of the most misunderstood signs of a strong aura. You may notice that some people feel lighter, more peaceful, or even inspired after being around you. Others, though, they leave feeling anxious, unsettled, even exhausted. Why? Because your aura doesn't just exist, interacts, and every interaction creates an energetic reaction. Carl Jung taught that the psyche is a living system. When two psyches meet, there's a silent exchange occurring beneath the surface. When your energy field encounters someone aligned with their own truth, there's resonance. Healing happens, but when you cross paths with someone fragmented, someone buried in shame, denial, or fear, Your energy acts like a spotlight on everything they've suppressed. It doesn't feel good, but it's not because you've harmed them. It's because your presence amplifies their incoherence. Some will even try to siphon your light unconsciously, using you as an emotional charger, because they've never cultivated their own inner flame. These people aren't evil, but they are energetically draining. Protect your field. You're not cold for setting limits. You're wise. Sign 10. You're often targeted by toxic people. It seems backwards. Why would manipulators and narcissists be drawn to someone so whole? Because your light is what they lack and crave. Toxic people often operate from a place of deep disconnection. They've rejected their own authenticity, buried their wounds, and live through projections. But even they, unconsciously, are drawn toward wholeness. You become their target, not because you're weak, but because you're strong. Not because you're broken, but because you're whole. Carl Jung warned that people who avoid their own shadow will try to possess those who embody what they're missing. They'll try to dominate you, confuse you, break your boundaries, not because of who you are, but because of what you represent. Your task is not to save them. Your task is to recognize the difference between connection and consumption. Your aura is a gift, but only when it's protected. Sign 11. Animals and children are magnetized to you. Animals don't care about status. Children don't care about your resume. They respond to energy. And if your aura is clear, grounded, and spiritually aligned, they'll recognize it instantly. Stray animals may approach you. Infants might lock eyes with you, smile, or reach for you. Children often feel like they've known you forever. This isn't coincidence, it's resonance. Carl Jung spoke about the divine child, the part of us that remains innocent, intuitive, and deeply connected to spirit. When you're living in alignment, you radiate that archetypal purity, and those closest to source, animals and children, will see it before anyone else does. This is one of the most honest validations of your energy. They trust you because your vibration says, this is safe, this is love, this is real. Sign 12. You're calm in chaos and it unnerves Pipliov. Probably seen it. Everyone's shouting, reacting, spiraling, and you're just still, present, centered. But instead of calming the room, it makes some people more uncomfortable. Why? Because your stillness reflects their inner war. Your peace isn't just a vibe, it's a frequency, a mirror. It reveals the storm inside others. Carl Jung taught that psychic integration, becoming whole, requires us to face our light and our shadow. You've done that work. You've felt your darkness, sat in your solitude. Now you don't need to perform or impress. You simply are. And, in a society addicted to noise, distraction, and validation, your silence is loud. Sign 13. You no longer seek approval, and that makes you unstoppable. Most people are fueled by approval, by likes, validation, applause. But you've outgrown that. You don't shrink yourself to fit in. You don't apologize for having boundaries. You don't soften your truth to keep the peace. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But that privilege comes at a cost. Alienation from the herd. Your authenticity makes you uncontrollable, unpredictable, and manipulable. People can't guilt trip you. They can't seduce you with approval. And to those who depend on external validation to survive, that's terrifying. Your aura says, I am not for sale. And in a world that sells everything, that's revolutionary.